Hello everybody, welcome to my garden. Welcome to a video that 15-20 minutes ago I got no inclination in making whatsoever. I just thought, you know what, I need a break from the same four walls. I need a break from it all, I really do. Yeah, I did say a few weeks ago on the community tab here on YouTube the fact that I wasn't going to be making any more videos for the remainder of 2023. And I fully meant that when I put that on. And doing this feels a bit weird actually. I've had to have time to myself, time to think. For those of you who don't know, my dog Buster passed away on the 9th of January 2023. It's now April the 7th, 2023. And I needed time to think and to get things organised because we are looking to adopt another dog. My family and I, we realised the absence that Buster's left behind is palpable. Even just hearing his footsteps down the stairs, and if you've ever had a dog and lost one, you'll know exactly what I mean. The house just feels like bricks and mortar. And I've had to do a lot of thinking, not only about this YouTube channel, but life in general. But today, tonight, maybe tomorrow night, I don't know. I just need a break from the same four walls. I need to get away, even if it's in my garden. As soon as I shut that door, I might as well be anywhere. So apologies, this is no wild camping trip. This is no campsite camping trip. This is my garden, but it will have to do for now. The weather's good at the moment, touch wood. But yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about life, goings on and that at the moment. And also as well, a new channel that I've set up as well, dog related, not camping related. But yeah, I'm gonna set up my Naturehike Opalus 3 now. This is a tent I've had since late last year, and I absolutely love this tent. So yeah, let's get on with the video. It feels weird saying that, it really does. Before I set up my Naturehike Opalus 3 tent, I want to talk to you about these. These are footprints, and these are brilliant. And I like them for two reasons, predominantly two reasons. Yeah, they add a little bit of weight to your kit, slight downside, but on a plus side, they add a little bit of protection for the underside of your tent. Now, these are not made of some sort of magical material. They're not made of Kevlar. They're not bulletproof. They're not knife-proof. They're not bomb-proof. They're not going to stop any real sharp objects from piercing the underside of your tent. And I do hope the fact that before you lay a tent down, that you check the ground first. That's a great thing to do. But if you have one of these set up, either put it on the ground first and then put your tent over the top, or conversely, put this onto your tent and then lay your tent down, then it's a little bit of protection. It's only made in nylon, but as I say, any protection is better than no protection. And I'd rather have one of these on the underside of my tent in case I missed a slight stone or protruding peg or something like that on there, then at least I know that that object has got to penetrate this before it penetrates my tent. As I say, any protection is better than no protection. The other reason why I really like these is the fact that all the moisture that's in the ground, maybe it's been raining 3 or 4 days ago, that moisture is still going to be there. When you lay a tent on the top, it's going to suck all that moisture up. And when you go to take the tent up, when you go to bring it up, all that moisture is going to be accumulated on the bottom of your tent. Now, if you're going to do that, you're going to dry your tent over the line. With something like this in between, all that moisture is going to accumulate on this instead of your tent, making it far easier to dry. So yeah, that's just my two reasons why I think that having a footprint with your tent is almost essential, really. And I just wish that more manufacturers would include these in with the cost of the tents. And yeah, my voice was really going towards the end. Oh, the smell of a tent. Almost smells like the colour green. Just smells earthy and homely. Smells of adventure. Even if I am in my own back garden, it's a break from the same four walls. And that's what I need right now. Just for a night or two. Okay, it was a cold night last night, so I'm gonna thermal insulate the floor with some foil matting. And you can buy this pretty cheap enough nowadays. I like to go a little bit OTT though, so I've got extra bedding as well. You may have seen this all before, but yeah, I'll probably end up putting a double because I'm out here on my own tonight. Might sleep out here in the old double bed. Luxury. No, I do tend to find, because having a dog for nearly 8 years, I did tend to find that because he slept on one side, I slept on the other. I used to hardly ever move. Whereas before I had Buster, I used to be rolling around all over the place. Well, that's the Quechua foam pads set out. Nice, large, comfortable floor. Probably 80% of the floor is now covered with foam cell mattresses, which is pretty much comfortable. I mean, you could lay on these no problem and have a good, comfortable night's sleep. But me being kind of feeling frumpy and fat and old and decrepit, and add the insults below. Then I'm going to add in a pad, an air pad. This is called an U-Sport. For those of you asking me where can you buy one from, you can't. This one's sadly discontinued. But the company's called O-Sport, O-U-S-P-T. And I've had this for years, and it's been very, very good to me. Hardly ever let me down. I've had other makes before. I shall not name names, but they used to let me down quite regularly. So this has been a good feature of mine now for a while. Again, I'm going to use the Power Flextail Gear Max 2020 pump to inflate, which just takes a few seconds. Okay, that's the pad all inflated, but I was using one of these Flextail Gear Max 2020 pumps, and my question for you lovely people out there is, why should we be using one of these electronic pumps or an air sac rather than our own breath to inflate our air pad or air bed? Put your answers in the box below. Right now, I'm going to go and get all my sleeping bags and my pillows and all that from upstairs and get kitted out for tonight. I certainly feel like doing a full camp. By that, I mean getting my Jetboil Zip out, and so I can have a cup of coffee out here and probably simulating a proper camp for when eventually I do get a dog and go camping, which will probably be next year now when that happens. But I would like to take this tent if at all possible. It fits a lot of criteria that I personally find is beneficial for me. So yeah, I'm going to get all that now, and I'll catch you a little later on. Well, time has ticked on since the last time I spoke to you. It's now 7:45 at night, and that's down to the fact that I've been doing a live feed here on YouTube. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who came online, said hello, and got chatting with. It's been absolutely brilliant. It's been the highlight of my day. It really has been awesome. So, yeah, time's ticked on. Obviously, now I need to have something to eat, and I'm lucky. I've got the choice of 2 stove systems. I've got the Jetboil Zip, which is here, and I've got the Jetboil Minimo, and I'm going to go with the Jetboil Minimo because it's quite a wider cup, and on this one you can regulate the heat, whereas on the Jetboil Zip it's either on or off, and no, we need to have a little bit more control. So the Jetboil Minimo it is, and because I'm going to be using a Wayfarer meal, they need to be boiled for 10 minutes, around about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go for the 500 milliliter gas canister, and as I say, this The Minimo has its own built-in igniter, so no match is required. The Jetboil Zip I tend to prefer for if I just want to boil water for something like a coffee. Yeah, got the water there. So with these meals, what you tend to do is you boil the water, you get it to boiling level, and then you put the sachet, the packet, sealed into the boiling water, and then 10 minutes later, you take it out. Always with these is a good idea is to light it first. And as you can see, I've got the door open here, so I've got plenty of ventilation, and the flame is well away from the tent. I'll stick that on, and then stick the Jetboil on there, and then with the regulator, turn that heat right the way up. One aspect about the Jetboil Minimo that I do like is the fact the handle is solid, as opposed to on the Jetboil Zip, where you've actually got this sort of fabric handle. When you're dealing with hot boiling water, I tend to prefer the system on the Jetboil Minimo. So what we're having tonight, it's Wayfarer beans and sausages. I know a lot of people tell me the fact that, yes, you can buy the Heinz variant of it, which is a lot cheaper, but I think it's just down to personal taste. I like the Wayfarer meals. They do cost a little bit more, quite a bit more, but I think for the taste, I think they're much better. This lid's only on here loosely. Just beginning to come to the boil. So I find the trick with these, yeah, that's boiling now. I pop that in there like that. And you've got to keep an eye on it. The last thing you want to do is for all the water. Turn that down a bit now. Ow. Yow. All the water wants to get out. It's too hot in here. The one thing with this that you need to be really careful of is because you're boiling water for a prolonged period of time, in this case 10 minutes, you need to be careful of the fact that the water doesn't evaporate and then you're left with a packet which is in a hot container and then fusing itself to the Jetboil. So you do need to keep an eye on it. That's getting pretty low. The only downside with these Wayfarer meals as opposed to something like a freeze-dried food is with freeze-dried food, you boil the water, you empty the boiling water into the packet, job done. With a packet that needs to be in boiling water for a prolonged period, obviously you're going to be using more gas, and then you need to keep an eye on that water level so that packet doesn't fuse. Which means, I mean, that water that I've just poured in isn't boiling, obviously, when I put it in, but it takes only a few seconds for it to get to boiling temperature. It's boiling already. Well, it's now 8 o'clock. And that temperature is really dropping, really dropping. It's about 10 minutes now, so that's fine. Drop that out. We top the water up when necessary. It's good. Now that packet is going to be really hot, so I'm just going to leave that just a couple of minutes, just to let it cool down a little bit. Okay. Seems about right to me. Oh, the smell of that is absolutely divine. I'm actually going to use the base of the Jetboil Minimo because that's still quite hot. And obviously the obligatory spork, long-handled, obviously, for digging in. Oh, it's gone 9 p.m. I am really, really tired. I've been up since 4, and I can begin to feel my body begin to shut down. It's saying time for sleep. I've just got into sleeping bags, and it's really toasty warm, which is good, really good. It should be. There's plenty of them. All my pillows that I need. Got my Quechua foam one, which I've got my head on right now. And I got these inflatable ones to stop my pillow from falling off the side, because this tent is great. It's 235 centimetres long for the bedroom, but which is great if you're long, you're a tall person. Absolutely fantastic. Can't knock it for that. But for me, now I've got the other problem where pillows fall off, and yeah. But it's a good problem to have, because, I mean, if I was going camping, I could stick my clothes on my bag there. I could use that as storage space, you know. Never a bad thing to have too much room. But yeah, I'm all comfy now, and I'm just getting to that point where I'm so tired. I'm beginning to feel my body begin to shut down and say it's time to sleep. So I shall see you in the morning. Well, good morning, everybody. It is, whoa, nearly dropped the phone. It is 5:52 in the morning. I don't know if you can read that, but yeah, non-eventful night, really. Very cold, especially from 5 o'clock. I'll talk to you about that more in a minute, but yeah, very uneventful night. I turned over like a skewer on a barbecue, but other than that, no sounds. I didn't even bother using my earplugs. That's a little plastic case, so didn't even bother with them. Yeah, just turned cold and just had to use the loo. Get back in here. I thought, yeah, it's cozy, and I've just been thinking about whether to stick it out, have a brew. But in the interest of the fact that I have been coughing a lot lately, I have been quite ill. I don't want to make that situation worse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the house for a little while, get warmed up, and then a little bit later on I'll come back out here and have a brew. I know it's not the ideal situation. If I was going to be camping, obviously I wouldn't have that luxury, but I probably won't go camping if I wasn't feeling under the weather anyway. So I need to compromise. I need to put my health first. So my throat is really, really sore. But the Opalus 3, the Naturehike Opalus 3, I've got to say, is a fantastic tent. For a one-person traveller like me, normally, there is plenty of room. This is like a palace, absolute palace. And this is a tent that I could certainly use for 4 or 5 nights, no problem. Got plenty of room for my clothes, my food, everything. I've got a large vestibule area. I absolutely adore it. So it's a great, great tent. The condensation, yes, there's definitely some condensation. I can see little drips and that, but we've had no wind. It has been freezing cold, and obviously I'm expelling hot air or carbon dioxide, and that is hitting the cold air from outside. So that's where your condensation will form. Yeah, it's been a nice break from the norm. I said about coming out here was going to be a break from the norm, and it's certainly done that, and I certainly feel better for it. Even if it is in my garden, right now with the tent all closed now, I could be anywhere. But yeah, as I say, I'm not feeling exactly 100%. I'm a little bit under the weather. So with that interest in mind, I am going to go inside and get warmed up and do the sensible thing. And once I've done that and the sun's risen a little bit, I'll come out here again. So I'll see you in a little while. Well, I hope you don't mind the large table. My throat really is getting really painful. It's, yeah, man flu at its worst. So I'm going to make a brew this morning, but I'm not going to have a coffee. I want something a little bit more syrupy kind of thing. So I'm going to have a Bovril. which is kind of like a beefy drink. And to make this one, I'm going to be using the Jetboil Zip as opposed to the Minimo, just because I prefer it for boiling water for drinks. And yeah, the only thing with the Jetboil Zip is the fact there is no ignition and obviously no regulator. So it's either on or nothing, which is good. And yeah, I've got some matches all laid out, and I've got the support at the bottom to stabilize the can, because the last thing we want is when that water starts to bubble, the whole thing moves around. I like the Jetboil Zip for many reasons, and it's the fact that it's a little bit less complicated than the Jetboil Minimo. There's less to go wrong. But yeah, it's both of them, the Jetboil Zip and the Jetboil Minimo, have their pros and cons. Always, always, always light the stove before you put the canister on the top. Otherwise, you tend to find that the gas builds up and all of a sudden it goes. Yeah. So turn the gas on. There we go. We are alight. It's not far off now. Tell it's starting to shake. Yeah, and the steam kind of gives it away, doesn't it? Yeah, that's definitely boiling. I don't like the fabric handle on this when you're dealing with hot boiling water. The pour on this is actually better on the Jetboil Zip than it is on the Minimo. The Minimo, you tend to find that when you're pouring out the water, it can be a bit haphazard and go everywhere. With the Jetboil Zip, it seems a little bit more refined. Thinking these plastic cups, these, I don't know what you call them, nylon cups, you can burn your hands. That is really quite painful. However, you put that into something like the Sea to Summit X cup. Yeah. Then you don't get that kind of burning sensation. You can do if you're not careful, but I tend to hold it on the black ring on the side. Cheers, everyone. Well, last night, to summarise, was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yes, I know, I'm camping in my back garden, da-da-da. But when I closed that tent door last night, wow, it was just like I could have been anywhere. And bunkering down for the night and getting under the covers, I slept brilliantly. I work nights Monday to Friday, and the last 9-10 weeks, I haven't had a good night's sleep. Not one. It's all been 2 hours here or 2 hours there, and it's been on my weekends off, which is like now, I'm awake at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I just do housework because I'm wide awake. My body's like, hey, you're awake. And I want to sleep. No, you're awake. I can't do anything about it. And then I have to have a power nap in the afternoon, and yeah, just nightmare. But last night, I fell asleep around about 9:15, 9:17, I think it was. And yeah, I woke up a couple of times, but very briefly, and woke up at, 6:15 this morning? 22, 6:15 this morning. That was only because I needed the toilet. So yeah, awesome night. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And just waking up to that fresh air and the sound of bird song, and I kind of missed that. I really did. So I will be sleeping out in here again tonight, I will, but I'll probably do that in a part 2. Otherwise, this video is going to be super duper long. So if I sleep out in here tonight, which is a good possibility, then I will do that in a part 2. But at the moment, I say I'm not going anywhere. I'm not buying anything at the moment. My priority is a dog. I don't want to talk too much about this, but I'm off to a kennels later on today. There's no dog on the website, but you know, that's my priority. Adopting a dog, getting a dog, and going through all that again. And as much as I love camping, and last night proved that point without a shadow of a doubt, the fact that I felt rough, still came out here and it was pretty chilly, and yet still woke up feeling absolutely fantastic, is testament to the fact that I love this camping lot. But I say I have to compromise somewhere along the line, and once I've finished this, I'll go up on the computer and go and look on sites for a dog and that. But yeah, I love my camping. So just to wind up, I'll say thank you very much for watching. If you found this video in any way enjoyable, please consider liking, leaving a comment and subscribing to the channel. It really does help the channel moving forward. And to all of you that have subscribed and watched this far, thank you very much. It's an honour and a privilege to do all this YouTube lark. It's not easy, as I said in my live feed last night, but it's thoroughly enjoyable. Right, I'm going to drink this and I'm going to go looking for a dog. So hopefully see you in part 2, if there is a part 2. If not, I might just sleep out here anyway and just not film it. But yeah, to all good things and to all good camping trips. If you're out camping this weekend or soon, have fun. Take care, folks. You know, that's really strong, but also, wow. Okay, it is Sunday. I did sleep out here last night. I didn't do any recording. I had a really bad throat last night. I could barely talk. It felt like I'd swallowed a brick, and could barely talk. It's still quite croaky right now, so I didn't do any filming yesterday at all. But yeah, I'm sitting outside the Naturehike Opalus 3 tent, which you can see looks quite a little bit different to what it normally looks like. And that's because when I woke up this morning, I was like, light bulb moment. What would happen if we took out the front pole, which holds out the vestibule area or the porch area at the front, and the guide ropes at the front, and then rolled all that back, which is what you can see I've done here. This is the porch area all rolled up. And doing this has meant the fact that I don't have to navigate all the bedding out through a side entrance here. But one thing I have actually had to do is the guide ropes in the middle, which are normally straight out either side, I've had to move them further forward, repeg them. That's put added tension onto this front pole to take out any slack in the middle, just to make things easier getting in and out of the tent. And as they say, at the moment the tent is empty. I'm just giving it a bit of time to dry, letting any condensation which has got through at the night, allow that to dissipate, so that I can pack away the tent. It's all nice and dry. Even said that though, I probably will throw it over the washing line just to make sure it's fully dry and there's going to be no mold that's growing over the tent. It's been a good couple of nights. It's a change of the same 4 walls. It's done what it meant to do, and I feel better for it. Apart from my throat, which is really starting to hurt again now. So yeah, there's a little bit of a tip there. If you're going to be loading and unloading, do it like this. Just remember to pull the guidelines in the middle, on the middle pole, move them further forward to add that tension on. Otherwise, you'll find it collapses like a ukulele. Okay, the tent's down. The tent's here. Now, this is what I was saying at the very beginning of this video. This footprint is wet, very wet. There's mud, there's grass. You can see there's grass down there. And yeah, whereas the tent, in comparison, is actually dry, which is great. That means that this is far easier to dry on the washing line. Throw it over the washing line, peg it out, and that's going to be a lot quicker to dry than the tent, which takes up quite a considerable space, and also is going to take longer to dry. So that's my main benefit for having a footprint, like I said at the very beginning of the video. Obviously, it does add some layer of protection. It's not exactly foolproof, and you should always check your pitch before you lay the tent down to make sure that any sharp objects are gone and you've got a nice clean pitch. But any protection is better than no protection. So there we go. I am now finishing this video. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.